Hi, this is Aaron Wilson. The Texans remain busy in the roster building department following the NFL draft. They added veteran center and guard Jake Andrews off waivers from the New England Patriots. And it's interesting to see this roster move because Andrews is a former fourth-round draft pick from Troy University, where he played for Texans offensive line coach and run game coordinator Cole Popovich. He was an all-Sun Belt Conference selection there, and though he didn't play a ton for the Patriots, played 16 games with one start, missed all of last season on injured reserve with a torn meniscus. I'm told he's healthy now, and this is a good fit for him. A lot of people in the Andrews camp are pretty excited to see this addition. He at one point was the heir apparent to be the center after David Andrews, but the injury, and I think that held him back more than anything. They would go with Garrett Bradbury as the replacement for veteran center David Andrews, no relation. And they drafted, out of Georgia, Jared Wilson, who's a promising young interior lineman. So he's likely the heir apparent to Bradbury, who's a veteran, former Minnesota Vikings starter. So yeah, Andrews, he needed a fresh start, needed a place to play. And the way I could see him impacting this situation, I think they'll allow him to compete with Jared Patterson. We'll just see how he does. At the worst, this is quality depth at center and guard with a player that Cole Popovich has a background and believes in terms of intangibles, leadership. Like I said, at Troy he was very good, allowed 6 sacks for his career, was the highest graded run blocker and pass blocker on the squad, and one of the highest in the Sun Belt Conference. They played good football at Troy University. It's a tough, hard-nosed program. He played for John Sumrall, who's now at Tulane. And this guy's a good athlete, 6'3", 305, 5'15" in the 40-yard dash, strong, bench press 225 pounds, 29 times. So yeah, I like some things about Andrews, and I think obviously Patterson is the favorite to be the center, but you have to think that he'll be counted on in terms of this competition and that they'll see how he does. He's got a major backer in Popovich who will be instrumental in making that decision on who are the starting 5 offensive linemen. As they've said ad infinitum, they're going to try to get the best 5 on the field. What if Jake Andrews is the best center on the team? It's possible. I think they have to line up and see. They have to compete and then make a judgment call. What's the best 5? What's the chemistry like? Patterson is an outstanding communicator and technician, and I think very highly of the work he's done, and I know the Texans do too. So J-Pat, as they call him, yeah, this isn't like he's just been replaced. They're going to have a competition, in my opinion, and at the very least, you'll see, I think, Andrews on the roster in some capacity, but it's going to be competitive. They have acquired the final 2 years of his rookie contract, so they have team control of a contract that is affordable. So they didn't have to pay him his bonus; it's just minimum salaries. So it's a potentially good move for the Texans. Again, we have to see how he looks, coming off of the meniscus. And how does he fit in? How does he learn the offense? All of those things. Remember, Nick Haley, offense coordinator, comes from New England. Jake Andrews, New England. General manager Nick Caserio, New England. Need I go on? Cole Popovich, at one point, New England. And then he parted ways with the Patriots due to some personal choices about COVID-19 and didn't want to be vaccinated, and that's his right. So he left, coached high school football for a little while, and then he went to Troy University, did a good job at Troy, and then he got this job as going from assistant line coach to offensive line coach and run game coordinator. And this is part of the evolution of the change of culture of the Texans offensive line. They're setting a tone, and Popovich is a big part of the change, an agent of change, if you will, in what they're doing on the offensive line. So Andrews, someone he has a background with, can help instill some things that Popovich believes in terms of style of play, technique, and just coachability. So I think it's a good addition to have Jake Andrews, and we'll just see how it goes. I can say here today, without seeing his performance, make a prediction that he's going to win the starting job. I think that would be really overstating matters, and I don't like to do that at all. I want to see for myself and then form an opinion. And my opinion right now is I think he's going to compete, and I think he'll, probably get a very long look at center, and he's a candidate at guard. He could play guard too. He played guard for the Patriots. He played guard before shifting to center at Troy University. He's more of a pure center, but like they say, the more you can do, if you can play center, you can play guard. And I could see him lining up in a couple of spots. I think right now, you got Titus Howard, who can play guard or right tackle. You've got the flexibility. You have Laken Tomlinson, former Pro Bowl lineman, probably at the end of his career as far as and he's been very durable, but didn't grade out very highly the last couple of years. And then you have Ed Ingram and Juice Scruggs duking it out at right guard. You have Blake Fisher, also a candidate at right tackle. And I think if they were going to line up in the spring at OTA, I would think that maybe Fisher goes out there first. We'll see how that goes. He did finish the season in the starting lineup. Didn't have a great playoff game at all. 3 sacks allowed, but he's a rookie. He's a very young rookie. Last season, his former second-round pick. I think they're going to give him every opportunity. And then you add Arante Ursary to the mix. Could he be their best right tackle? Possibly. And I don't see him winning the left tackle job outright right now. Cam Robinson is likely the left tackle. But I think we're going to see a bunch of configurations. This will be an ongoing theme. It will be something we're watching closely and tracking, along with long snapper competition and competition at linebacker with EJ Speed, Henry To'oTo'o, and of course Christian Harris, one of the most talented, fast defenders, pound for pound, on the team. So it's interesting that they get in Andrews, and I think we'll see how he does. But I think he's obviously, if he was playing great football, they don't draft Jared Wilson and they don't sign Garrett Bradbury. So as good as Andrews was in college, it hasn't translated yet in the NFL. So let's just keep an eye on things and see how he does. So on the veteran front, also the Texans are looking at running backs. And so this is my reporting and my exclusives, actually. What's up on the back? That was on this one. Yeah, try to get a few stories here and there. They are going to have a workout for 2 former Cincinnati Bengals running backs with some ties to Texans players. That includes Chris Evans, who played at Michigan with Nico Collins, very close to Nico, and he missed this past season with a patellar tendon rupture, so bad injury. So he's going to work out with the Broncos at their minicamp. So he's making the rounds, and he's going to work out for the Texans. And they're also going to bring in Travion Williams, also formerly of the Bengals, a free agent that was an outstanding player at Texas A&M, where he was All-American and All-Southeastern Conference. And he's local. He played at C.E. King. And, of course, both backs have close ties to Joe Mixon, the Pro Bowl running back for the Texans, so they're former teammates of Joe. And we'll see what happens. So Evans has rushed for 89 career yards, so not great production, but he wasn't a starter. And he had 19 catches, 180 yards, and 3 touchdowns. He's also a kickoff returner, averaged 21.1 yards in 2022. 29.0 yards in 2021 as a rookie. And so, when he was healthy, good athlete. 4.51 speed, 40.5-inch vertical leap for the Michigan Wolverines, which is obviously an outstanding program. Rushed for 1,795 career yards, 15 touchdowns, 49 catches, 479 yards, 2 scores. So a good running back and potential depth. I don't know if they're going to need any of these backs. They are at 90 players after the Jake Andrews edition, including the 5 undrafted free agents we reported that the Texans have reached an agreement with and will sign. So they'd have to cut somebody if they're going to add one of these guys. So maybe that's Jahar Jordan, or if that's British Brooks, if it's from the running back spot. Of course, they drafted Woody Marks to go with Joe Mixon, Damian Pierce, Dare Ogunbowale. They have fullbacks on the roster like Jacob Johnson and British Brooks. So they've got some decisions to make. Don't want to not give Travion his due. I know I've covered some of his events before. Great in the community, really dedicated to helping youth football. And so Williams, he's a former 6th-round draft pick. He's 27 years old. He's rushed for 307 career yards, 15 catches, 74 yards, 743 kickoff return yards, 22.5 career average. When he was at Texas A&M, he broke the school record for single season all-purpose yards, rushing yards, 1,760 rushing yards his final season for the Aggies, 18 touchdown runs, good nose for the end zone, a little bit of a smaller back, finished with 3,615 rushing yards, 34 touchdowns. So they're going to take a look at him and see what he can do. And another thing, this is an award and a real honor considering the kind of athletic program they have at John Carroll University. Texans special teams coordinator Frank Ross has been named to the... And Frank Ross, one of the reasons that he was honored was for his involvement in the community. I've attended some of his events. He has an annual program called Coach's Cuts, and what he'll do, he'll help the homeless with a variety of things that he does with partners in the community and other barbers. I would say with Frank, he's known for cutting hair. This is something he cuts a lot of players, a lot of coaches' hair. He's done this for a long time. So last year, I had the pleasure of attending this event. He went, he had organized with his wife and with the Texans, and they put this all together. It was great. So they would find homeless folks wherever you find them, on the street, in shelters, under bridges, and invite them. And so a lot of these gentlemen, they came there and they got something called a trailer where they have some privacy to take a shower. They get clean clothes, they get teeth whitening if they want that, they get a haircut, they get a shave, and they get gift cards to Olive Garden. And at the end of it, they're just like a new person. They look great. And the transformation, and you see the smiles on their faces, and just to have someone care about them and take an interest in them and try to get them on the right track and offer help with programs to try to get them off the streets and get them some help, whether that's mental health or whatever, help with addiction, just different things that may have led to them becoming homeless. So yeah, Frank has a big heart for the community, and good job by Frank to be in the JCU Hall of Fame. And so that's pretty cool. I was doing a little research on this. I looked at this a long time ago. Frank had a game where he once caught, it's a school record, 17 catches in one game, 228 yards, 251 all-purpose yards. This is back in 2009 against the Capital Crusaders. And then he earned $14,000 for the football program. He appeared on an episode of Deal or No Deal. And so he did well on Deal or No Deal. So that was kind of cool. And then another thing that happened with the Texans that I got a heads up about, I thought it was pretty cool. And this also has some local ties here in Texas with Texas Tech. Tight end, Klein graduate, Mason Tharp, coming in to try out at the rookie minicamp. 6'9", yes, 6'9", 270 pounds, former all-district football and basketball player at Klein. So, interesting guy, visited the Chicago Bears, played the Tropical Bowl All-Star game, gigantic red zone target, good after the catch, watched some tape of him. I was impressed. Normally he would block, and he's a willing blocker. He's a little lanky, obviously at 6'9", 270, has a frame to add a lot more weight. But last year, 13 catches, 136 yards, 2 touchdowns, finished career with 57 catches, 614 yards, 9 touchdowns, 71.8 Pro Football Focus run blocking grade. Played as a true freshman, and so he's from Spring, so he's local, and he'll be out there at the rookie minicamp trying to earn a roster spot. And he chose Texas Tech over Arizona State, Colorado, Duke, Illinois, Iowa State, heard that before, Iowa State, which has 3 wide receivers now on the Texans depth chart, Kansas, Michigan State, Ole Miss, North Texas, Rice, SMU, Utah, Virginia, Northwestern, Penn of the Ivy League, and Pitt. So some good people are on. Mason Tharp, good programs, and now he's going to try out for his hometown Texans. So cool story to see Mason Tharp come in and compete for a roster spot, and we'll see. They always say for them to add someone when they're at 90 players, you have to cut someone. So you have some decisions to make, oftentimes tough decisions, and to see how everybody looks on the field. They don't do a ton at the rookie minicamp, so they have to make a decision. Do they want to have him be a part of it? I would think you'd want to have this guy be a part of it, possibly as a developmental tight end. If not here, I would be sure he'll play with someone at some point. But yeah, an interesting player, Mason Tharp, trying out for the Texans. And we'll get more into the rookie class, and I've got some other videos coming up, but I think that's enough for now. I just wanted to give you guys some updates on Jake Andrews, most importantly, and the running back tryout that I'm reporting on. That's Thursday, so we'll see if anyone gets signed out of that. And then, of course, Frank Ross's honor and Mason Tharp. So kind of a notebook of sorts in video form for you guys, the subscribers to this channel. Thanks for liking and subscribing. Please join us if it's your first time joining the channel. And I look forward to our next conversation. I'm, of course, on KPRC2 on the airwaves with Randy McAvoy and R. Alexander. I'm online at www.click2houston.com. No subscription required. It's all free of charge. Read me anytime and keep it bookmarked, please. And then I'm on Twitter and X at AaronWilson_NFL and Instagram AaronWilson7128. Thanks for supporting the channel. We are now well over 6,000 subscribers and on our way to 7,000. And the goal, next benchmark for me is I want to get to 10,000 and just be able to do even more with the channel. And I appreciate all the support. We have a membership club. We have a couple members. We're happy to have anybody who wants to join as a member. And going to be doing more and more as I get more comfortable with the technology of YouTube. Come from a newspaper background, as you guys know, Houston Chronicle, Baltimore Sun, so a lot of the stuff I'm adapting to, learning to how to do it, and I'm enjoying it. Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate you tuning in.